Yo, we're gonna talk about fear. You know, one thing I've realized is that you can't let fear control you. You know, you can be a lot of things. You can be a hard worker, you could be erratic, you could be irresponsible, you can be immature, you can be mature. But one thing that you truly cannot be is a coward. You know, you can't be a coward, bro. Because people smell that shit. You know, people truly smell that shit. If you're an ambitious guy on this path of self-improvement, watching a video like this, oftentimes we as guys on self-improvement, sometimes it's easy for us to take comfort in the discipline and in the routine. We like things to follow a plan. We like things to flow smoothly. But sometimes there's this added fear, you know, and sometimes a lot of the guys, they run away from this fear. But I'm here to tell you that, bro, if you want to do anything in life, no, fuck all that. No. You know, generally, like, remove all that bullshit, right? This is what our parents never told us. This is what our teachers never taught us. You know, in order for us to become decent human beings, we must always conquer that fear. In the modern day, everything around us is built for us to evade fear. You know, oh, you're feeling sad. Go onto Instagram or scroll some more, eat some sugary food, bullshit or whatever. You're feeling threatened. Oh, but you can shame this person and you can say, oh, but he's body shaming, he's being anti-Semitic, he's being anti-phobic, you know, he's been all this stuff. A lot of the things around us in our lives, it's made for us to get rid of fear. You know, a lot of the shit is like, oh, don't work so hard. You know, oh, you don't need to go. You don't need to go train. All this shit that you hear, you know, it's made for us to evade fear. But I'm here to tell you, what our parents didn't teach us, what our teachers never told us, is that if you're serious about your life and if you're serious about improvement, no matter what fear you have, bro, you have to get on top of it. You have to come face to face with that fear. You know, I'll tell you this. This is a good story. When I was 17 years old, I decided to box. You know, I was sick and tired of being a pussy. All throughout high school, all throughout school, I was a pussy. And I'm going to get to that later on in the video. But I decided to box. So I get into my boxing gym. In the first month, I'm just in the beginner's class. You know, I'm just learning how to fight. I'm just learning how to throw jab, 1, 2, blah, blah, blah. I think around a month and a half, 2 months into really boxing, I get moved to the sort of exercising group where they spar a little. And I walk into the gym, bro. And I see some heavy guys, big guys, you know, muscular dude, scary looking guys. And I get scared, just like any other person would. You know, and I'm telling you, bro, that fear is really, it's natural. You know, after all, you're fighting. This is not football. And even in football, there's fear because I used to play for, okay, we'll get sidetracked. But there was fear. So a couple of days go by, I don't spar these guys because I don't want to. I say, oh, left my mouthpiece at home. The fear got on top of me. But then the other day, I was sitting in bed. You know, this was, I think, in 2024. I was sitting in bed and I'm like, am I serious about boxing? Do I want to do this? I was like, yeah, I do. Well, then you have to fucking spar these guys, right? You have to put yourself in these difficult, you know, uncomfortable situations for you to grow. And so next training session, I go in and I'm like, coach, you know what? Put me in with him. I want to spar this guy. And I spar him. And it was an alright spar, nothing too crazy, nothing much. But as soon as I climbed in between those ropes, as soon as I got out of the ring, I felt like, fuck. Yo, this is what I was evading all this time. This is what I was running from. So a couple more months go by, spar, I get better. I start beating on these guys. And then I actually get moved into the competition group. So then I start going to fights. You know, I start fighting now. Now I'm an amateur boxer. And even in that group, there's this one guy. He's known as the boogeyman of the whole boxing club. And I look at him and I get scared. I'm like, fuck. It's the same thing that fear never leaves you. If you see anyone ever tell you that fear leaves you, bro, they're fucking lying to you. the problem is the fear never leaves. The fear never leaves you. But as you progress and as you get better, you learn to control that fear. You learn to come face to face with it. Like I have a fight next weekend on the 28th. And I'm scared today. I'm scared right now, bro. Right? I'm scared right the fuck now. But I've done this before. I've done this a couple times before. I've had a few fights now. So, of course I'm scared. Of course there's fear. But one way to combat this fear is by preparation. The more you suffer in training, the more confidence you build up. The confidence comes from the hard work. Just like Jai Opataya said in one of his interviews, the confidence comes from the hard work. The confidence comes from the fucking days that we suffered. We put our bodies through. And he's right. So the fear, you can combat this fear with preparation. And you can learn to come face to face with this fear, because more than winning the fight, what's important for me is to conquer this fear, bro. It's to fucking, like, you can say whatever, you can do whatever, I don't give a shit. I can't let that fear win over me, because I know that if that fear wins over me, that I know that every single time in life when I get scared, I'm going to resort to finding comfort. And we all know comfort is the killer of man. Suffering is growth. There is growth in the suffering. Not a lot of people understand this, bro. I fucking promise you. So that's one of the ways you can combat the fear. Now, moving on. People smell that shit, bro. People smell that shit. There was one time in high school when I remember I started breaking out. Maybe I'm still breaking out. Still have a lot of acne. But I remember I truly started breaking out. And it wasn't like this. It was genuinely fucking cystic. It was like, bro, it was fucking huge. Right? And I started breaking out. And me and this other friend, we got into an argument. And he was like, how about you talk to me when you stop having pepperoni slices on your face? And I still remember to this day, bro, when he said that, in my mind, I wanted to beat the shit out this guy, bro. But I didn't, because I was a pussy. I didn't know how to fight. I didn't know how to back myself. I didn't know how to believe in myself. I had low self-esteem. And so I just fucking stood there like a pussy. Didn't do shit. And the reason he said that was because he smelt fear. Smelt? Is that the word? Because he garnered that I was scared. And people smell that shit, bro. The moment people smell that you're fucking scared, they're gonna pick on you. It's just the way shit goes, bro. I'm sorry. It's just human nature. You're gonna go for the weakest link, right? But there's a way where you keep your mouth shut, but you can still assert dominance, right? But the reason why you have to break free from from the shackles of fear is, one, because people smell that shit on you, right? That's one. Let me see what the other point was I have on my notes. Yep. You can't let fear control you. I think we've already been through this before, but detach yourself from the outcome. Whether it's you running a race, you really want to win the race, or whether it's you fighting. You really want to win this fight. Whether it's you playing football, you really want to win that match. Detach yourself from the outcome of winning, and rather focus on actually stepping in, doing it. Because once you do it, once you're in it, you've already won in your eyes. You've already conquered the fear, right? So then you can sort of take it from there. You can take that momentum. You know what I mean? Me, bro, the biggest thing for me was, I remember in my first amateur fight, bro, I fought at 75 kg, and I've always had this reputation of being a small kid for 75 kg. And I remember I saw my opponent warming up, right? And he looked massive, bro. Fuck. He looked fucking huge. He looked at least like 80, 85 kg. Like his arms were the size of my head. But he was a shit boxer. Like I looked at him warm up, complete garbage. Deep down, I knew I was a better boxer than him, right? And I remember I was scared. But here's the thing. Your opponent is scared too. This is the thing in the fight game. If you're scared, chances are your opponent is scared as well. Right? So as soon as I got in there, and as soon as I started using my jab, I started getting the momentum. And as soon as I climbed between those ropes, bro, I had already won in my mind. I had already won. Because I conquered that fear. And why did I conquer that fear? And why did I win? Because, bro, I come from a fucking pussy background, bro. 15-year-old version of me would have never thought I would be fighting at the age of 18, at the age of 19. He would have never gone to he would have never even imagined this. That I was capable of fighting. Because if you saw me grow up, I'm not a very, trying to assertive kid. Bro, I'm a pussy. Like, I'm a goofy guy. I like to be with my friends. I like to goof around. I like to laugh. I like to chill. I like to make jokes. I'm not a guy looking for problems. I'm not a guy looking to pick fights. That's the farthest thing away from my character. But I realized that in this world, bro, you need to sort of have this skill to assert your power in some way or the other. And fighting is one of the ways to do it. So I started fucking getting really shit scared. But the moment I realized is, the more I put myself through pain and suffering and training, the more I'm prepared for the fear. And I remember when I looked into his eyes, I felt fear for the first time in my life. I was like, fuck, you're gonna be beating me. And that's the day I promised myself that I'm gonna be in this situation so many more times, so that when that situation comes in the future, I've been there before. It's no problem for me. And that's when I started sparring really good guys, started sparring Olympians, started sparring national champions, started sparring the guys who are at the top of the food chain, who are at the top of their divisions. And I started sparring them. I didn't look at the spar as win or lose. I went into the spar to learn. I went in there to beat my fear, beat me mentally. Because as soon as I sparred them, I was a couple rounds deep into the spar with these really good boogeymen. I'd already won. And I'll carry forward this momentum. So if you're a young kid who is who has fear, who's scared, know that that's okay. Because truly, bro, the education system failed us. Our parents, I don't want to say our parents failed us, but our parents generally did a lot. But there's a lot that they didn't tell you. And it's sort of that molds you, because there's a lot of shit you have to learn on your own. You have to learn the hard way. So know that you have to conquer this fear, bro. Because if you want to mark my fucking words, bro. If you want to do anything substantial with your life, you get one shot at this fucking rock, bro. This floating rock. It starts by overcoming that fear. It starts by that. So if that's your fear of going up and approaching that goal, you have to get over it. You have to conquer it. If it's your fear of going up and fighting someone, you have to conquer it. If that's your fear of studying more, guess what? You have to conquer it. Because the moment you reject, the moment you say no to face your fears, is the moment you let the fear win. Right? And if the fear has won, the battle is already lost. Trust me, bro. If you go into a fight and that fear has taken over you, you've lost. I'm sorry, you've lost. No way. No way. Yeah, man. You have to face those fears, bro. This is something I grew up without a dad, and a lot of the shit I tell you, I had to learn the really fucking hard way, but I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful that I had to learn things the hard way. So I'm telling you, as a big brother, and as a brother who wants you to improve, you have to face those fears, bro. You have to do it. Yeah, man. 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Yep. Do everything with righteousness at its core. And remember, where could discipline take you? Take care. Mwah. See you, man.